Albert Einstein once said, "If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough." And while the art and science of getting jacked can be very intricate with many moving parts, we must take the time to periodically identify the core basics that bring us the majority of our gains. Not only will this keep us focused on what matters most, but it will stop us from chasing new fads, hacks, or shortcuts that ultimately end up costing us in the end. When it comes to weight training to get jacked, we've scrutinized various movements and have identified the top 5 exercises you need to look jacked. If you make these movements the bread and butter of your weight training and focus on progression over time, you'll have a muscular physique in no time. You'll have fewer exercises that you'll need to learn how to do with perfect form, and you'll become a master at executing these lifts. The commonalities between the 5 lifts are they are compound lifts that train multiple muscle groups at the same time. They often involve engaging your core for stability, which will indirectly train and strengthen the core. And they are often performed with a barbell, allowing you to load heavier weight when you lift. So let's get into the 5 exercises. Number 1, deadlift. We're gonna set this list off with the king of all compound exercises, the deadlift. We were hard pressed to find another movement that trained as many muscle groups in a single lift. The deadlift trains the hamstrings, glutes, lower, middle, upper back, upper traps, forearms, and core. Now that's a long list of muscle groups in a single lift. Another massive benefit of the deadlift is its natural movement compared to the squat or bench press. In addition, we're very familiar with picking things up off the floor as humans, so it's more effortless movement to master. There's also a wide variety of deadlift variations to choose from that target different muscle groups to varying degrees. But if we were to choose one variation that would add to the long list of muscle groups trained in the deadlift, it would be the sumo deadlift. We decided on this deadlift variation because of its great involvement of the quadriceps. And since squats are not on this list, this is the perfect variation. This 2002 study compared the conventional and sumo deadlift. During the sumo deadlift, muscle activation was greater compared to the conventional deadlift in vastus medialis and vastus lateralis, which are 2 of the 4 muscle groups in the quadriceps. The reason quad activation is higher is the wider stance and the more upright back position. Other variations include Romanian, stiff leg, single leg RDLs, snatch grip, and trap bar deadlifts. Variations like the Romanian deadlift and stiff leg deadlift further activate the hamstrings. The trap bar deadlift is another great variation similar to the sumo deadlift because we are able to get more upright. Have deadlifts as part of your arsenal and your physique will thank you for it. Number 2, incline bench press. The next movement is the incline bench press. While most people are strong with the flat or decline bench press, the press done with a slight incline further engages the upper chest. A well-built upper chest has a greater impact on the appearance of the chest than just having a large lower chest. The upper chest, technically known as the clavicular head, is a small muscle below the collarbone that consists of descending muscle fibers. Pressing at an incline increases muscle activation of this area. So the question is, what's the best incline angle to use that will build the upper chest while still activating the rest of the chest? A study on 15 male subjects compared the bench press angles at 30, 45, and 60-degree incline. They found that a 44-degree bench produced greater muscle activation than at the 28-degree angle in the upper chest. A second study found similar upper chest activation with the 30 and 45-degree angles, with a third 2020 study finding greater upper muscle activation with the 30-degree angle. Based on these studies, we recommend using a 30-degree incline press for your chest pressing. Number 3, pull-ups. The third exercise is the pull-up, and much like the deadlift, many variations can be used. For those who aren't able to perform strict bodyweight pull-ups, they can use a machine or cable pull-down instead. But first, let's look at how different variations affect back and bicep muscle activation. Over a full repetition, the pronated grip, where your palms face forward, resulted in significantly greater muscle activation of the middle trapezius when compared to the neutral grip pull-up, in which your palms face each other. So when aiming to build a thicker mid-back, throw a pronated grip into your pull-up routine. It's commonly believed that a very wide grip pull-up is needed to build a wide back, assuming that wide equals wide. But research on this topic says otherwise. This 2014 study had 15 men perform 6 rep max in the lat pull down with narrow, medium, and wide grips at 1, 1.5, and 2 times shoulder width. There was similar muscle activation between grip widths for lats. Therefore, with similar muscle activation at the various grips, lifters can expect similar gains with a grip width of 1 to 2 times shoulder width. With that said, we would recommend the grip you prefer, starting slightly wider than shoulder width apart. However, there's no need to go very wide, especially if you experience shoulder discomfort at that width. Instead, use a width that works for you and mix up the pull-up variations in your training. Number 4, standing dumbbell overhead press. The fourth exercise is the standing dumbbell overhead press. The reason we recommend performing this in the standing position is that it engages the core. The reason we recommend dumbbells is that it allows for more freedom with the hand position. There's also research showing greater overall muscle activation in the shoulders when done standing with dumbbells. A study conducted in Norway compared muscle activation in barbell and dumbbell shoulder presses performed seated and standing. They found that the overhead press done standing with dumbbells required the greatest stability. This leads to the highest neuromuscular activity of the deltoid muscles. However, this was the exercise with the lowest 1 rep max strength. Electromyogram activity was measured in different parts of the deltoid, and these were the findings. For the anterior deltoid, electromyogram activity was about 11% lower for seated barbell versus dumbbell, about 15% lower in standing barbell versus dumbbell, and about 8% lower for seated versus standing dumbbells. For the medial deltoid, electromyogram activity is about 7% lower for standing barbell versus dumbbells, about 7% lower for seated versus standing barbell, and 15% lower for seated versus standing dumbbell. For posterior deltoid, electromyogram activity was about 25% lower for seated versus standing barbell, and about 24% lower for seated versus standing dumbbells. For biceps, electromyogram activity was about 33% greater for seated barbell versus dumbbells, 16% greater for standing barbell versus dumbbell, and about 23% lower for seated versus standing dumbbells. For triceps, electromyogram activity was about 39% greater for standing barbell versus dumbbells and about 20% lower for seated versus standing barbell. 1 rep max strength for standing dumbbells was about 7% lower than standing barbell and about 10% lower than seated dumbbells. While the overhead press with the barbell had a greater 1 rep max, we are going with dumbbells since the focus is muscle mass. But feel free to mix the barbell and dumbbell overhead press if you're interested in maximizing both strength and size in the shoulders. Number 5, dips. The fifth and final exercise we'll look at is the dip. The dip is an excellent exercise for building the triceps, which make up a significant portion of the arm. A big benefit of the dip as opposed to isolated tricep exercises is that it also trains the lower part of your chest, which complements the incline press we discussed earlier. For the dip, instead of leaning forward, maintain a more upright position. By staying more upright, elbow flexion increases, increasing the dip's range of motion. While leaning forward looks cool and can add to chest training, the vertical position is better for the triceps in the long run. A common mistake many lifters make with bodyweight exercises is not loading the movement over time. Once you can perform 15 or more bodyweight dips with good form, it's time to use a weighted dip belt or a dumbbell between the legs and train the dip like any other compound lift, which is adding load and training it with various reps. So to recap, the top 5 movements are the deadlift, incline bench press, pull-up, standing dumbbell overhead press, and the dip. These are the top 5 movements we recommend making the foundation of your training. Of course, you can add more exercises to develop your physique further, but by boiling things down to core basics, you'll always know which movements deserve the most attention when it comes to getting jacked. Did you find this video helpful? If so, click the like button below as it'll genuinely help out the channel. If your training and nutrition are in order and you're looking for a bit of an edge, be sure to check out my science-based supplement line. Each product was created using scientifically proven ingredients, all clinically dosed and guaranteed to produce results. Right now, you can get 25% off your entire order, plus free shipping by using the coupon code MONSTER at checkout. So head over to musclemonsters.com/supplements or click the link in the description. And if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe for more videos, and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss the next one. Peace.